Welcome to Mystery Manor Unexplained, where the past whispers its secrets, waiting for those brave enough to listen. Today, we venture into the unsettling tales of the top 5 largest armies that disappeared without a trace. Could they have been swallowed by the sands, hunted down by shadows, or simply crossed a threshold into another realm? Our number 3 involves Russia's infamous Time of Troubles, a notably bloody and brutal period. Our number 1 is shocking because it is deeply connected to the foundation of United States history. One thing is sure, these stories aren't for the faint of heart. Number 5, the Lost Army of Cambyses. The Sahara Desert, with its haunting expanse and shifting dunes, has long hidden the bones of wanderers and warriors alike. Among these is one of history's most chilling mysteries, an army of 50,000 soldiers who marched into the desert under the command of Cambyses II, the ambitious ruler of the Persian Empire. It was 525 BC, and Cambyses had claimed Egypt, the land of the pharaohs. But as he sought validation from the oracle of Amun, a defiant silence was his only answer. Enraged, Cambyses ordered his troops into the desert to crush the sanctuary. But the Sahara had other plans. According to the Greek historian Herodotus, a sinister sandstorm swept in, swallowing every soldier in its path. Not a soul survived. Yet for centuries, tales of their lost souls echoed through Egypt. Expeditions combed the desert in the 20th century, seeking to uncover the remnants of that doomed legion. What they found were only whispers, a few ancient artifacts, human remains, and shadowy footprints that seemed to vanish into the sand. Could it have been the wrath of the gods, or was there something more sinister at play? Some archaeologists argue it was no storm that claimed the soldiers, but the hand of Egyptian rebels, erasing them from the sands and from history. Their ghosts are said to haunt the desert, waiting eternally for the march they will never complete. Number 4, the Lost Legion of Crassus. The Romans were invincible, or so it seemed. In 53 BC, the wealthy and power-hungry general Crassus led 7 legions against the Parthian Empire, seeking to expand Rome's influence. His dreams, however, turned to nightmares on the desert sands near Carrhae. The legions, 40,000 strong, were no match for the Parthian general Serena and his swift cavalry. Crassus was humiliated, defeated, and legend has it, killed with molten gold poured down his throat, a grim testament to his unquenchable thirst for wealth. But the nightmare didn't end there. Rumors spread of captured Roman soldiers sent eastward, to lands that lay beyond even the farthest reach of the empire. Could some of Crassus' men have survived and ended up fighting as mercenaries for foreign kings? Chinese chronicles speak of pale-skinned warriors with blue eyes, fighting in formations only the Romans knew. Were they remnants of Crassus's lost legions? Perhaps. The people of a remote Chinese village bear the rare traces of Roman features to this day. As the centuries passed, the tale of the Lost Legion became an eerie ghost story. Soldiers trapped in a foreign land, fighting endless wars for masters who had forgotten them. A legion without a home, marching forever in silence. Are you enjoying this video? Like, subscribe, and set notifications to all. Number 3, Ivan Susanin and the Polish Expedition. Russia's Time of Troubles was a period drenched in blood, intrigue, and fear. It was a time when the shadows of power struggles seemed to breathe with a life of their own, haunting every forest and every village. In the early 17th century, the throne of Russia lay empty, its former rulers lost to death and despair, while foreign forces closed in, hungry to claim the seat of power. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, a fierce power to the west, saw an opportunity in this turmoil and seized Moscow itself, placing their own prince on the Russian throne. But the Russian people, simmering with resentment, began to rally. They sought a new leader and soon found him in Mikhail Romanov, the chosen heir to bring order back to a land sinking into chaos. But Mikhail's rise did not go unchallenged. Word of his impending ascension reached the occupying Polish forces, and they dispatched soldiers with a single deadly mission: find Mikhail and eliminate him. The soldiers traveled in the bitter cold, ill-prepared for the unfamiliar Russian wilderness. It was here they encountered a humble villager, Ivan Susanin, a man who was to lead them, but not to Mikhail. With a cunning born of patriotism or perhaps desperation, Ivan offered to guide the Polish forces to their prey. He led them deep into the freezing forest, winding through dense thickets and treacherous paths. Hours passed, and the dark began to creep in. swallowing every sense of direction. When the Polish soldiers finally understood they had been deceived, it was too late. Lost and surrounded by the haunting silence of the forest, they disappeared, their fates never confirmed. Some say they perished from the cold, while others whisper of far darker ends, of Ivan himself haunting the woods, an eternal wraith leading any who dare enter astray. Today, Ivan Susanin remains a legend, the Russian guide who sacrificed himself for his people, his tale resonating through the art and stories of Russia as an eerie symbol of patriotism and loss. Number 2, the Ninth Legion. Few tales from Rome are as spine-chilling as that of the Ninth Legion, a disciplined, hardened Roman legion that met its end not in a battle, but in an enigmatic, agonizing vanishing act. The Ninth Legion was no ordinary force. These were Rome's finest, men who had survived countless battles in the hot sands of Spain, the cold forests of Germania, and the wind-swept hills of Britain. By the year 108 AD, this legion had been stationed in Britain, building fortresses, enforcing the iron will of Rome, and expanding the empire's boundaries. Their reputation was fearsome, their loyalty unshakable. And then, one day, they vanished. Just like that, as if the fog of Britain had come alive and swallowed them whole. What happened to the Ninth? Some historians say they marched northward into Caledonia, a land of dense fog, deep bogs, and wild, untamed hills. Legend claims they were never seen again because they crossed paths with a force that defied all logic. A ghostly rebellion, British tribes that struck in the dead of night, leaving the Romans defenseless against an enemy they couldn't see. Centuries later, excavations turned up Roman artifacts deep in Scotland, and a single Roman eagle sculpture was discovered. Theories ignited. Did these lost soldiers fight a final desperate battle? Was this eagle all that remained of their valor? Others believe the Ninth didn't disappear in Britain at all. Roman inscriptions found in the Netherlands seem to indicate their presence in campaigns far from British shores. Could they have been reassigned, destined to face an enemy so insidious it erased them from memory? To this day, the Ninth Legion remains a haunting question mark in history, a ghostly remnant of Rome's unrelenting reach. Number 1, the fleet of Mansa Musa's predecessor. Long before Columbus dreamed of distant lands across the Atlantic, there was a king, a ruler of such unimaginable wealth and ambition that he sought to cross that endless horizon. His name is lost to history, known only as the predecessor of Mansa Musa, the legendary ruler of the Mali Empire. But his story, recounted by Mansa Musa himself, has haunted historians for centuries. In the early 1300s, the Mali Empire was the jewel of West Africa, a kingdom where scholars, artisans, and royalty alike flourished. But for this unnamed king, wealth and grandeur weren't enough. The Atlantic Ocean called to him, and he believed it hid secrets that could rival the splendor of his own kingdom. With a fleet of 200 ships, he ordered his people to sail westward into the unknown, carrying gold, food, and warriors. But the Atlantic is not kind to those who seek its mysteries. Days passed, then weeks, and no ship returned. Finally, one lone vessel washed ashore, its crew trembling, muttering of towering waves and vast, dark waters that seemed alive. But the king refused to be deterred. He commanded a new fleet, 2,000 ships this time, and he would lead them himself. No one saw him again. Rumors of his fate spread like wildfire. Some said he reached new lands, leaving behind treasures and knowledge for unknown tribes. In Brazil, traces of ancient West African crops and tools have been found, sparking whispers that the lost fleet may have reached the shores of South America. And when Columbus set sail, he reportedly sought not only gold but the fabled treasures of Mali that had supposedly washed ashore. But history remains silent on what became of that ambitious king. The ocean guards its secrets well, leaving us with nothing but ghost stories and strange artifacts that hint at the fate of the fleet. These tales, steeped in mystery and shadow, are fragments of a world that refuses to be fully known. For those who venture to seek the truth, there is only the faint echo of the vanished, whispers of long-lost legions, kings and soldiers who marched into eternity. What do you think is the most shocking army disappearance? Tell us in the comments. Because sometimes the past isn't just a story, it's a shadow waiting for you to notice.